Yo guys, welcome to a new video. Today I will give you my spoiler-filled thoughts on Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. In case the title and my intro didn't tell you it already, but yes, be aware of spoilers. They will be talked about in this video. So if you haven't seen Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning yet, please turn away, watch the movie, and then come back later. All right, let's get straight into them. I already miss Luther. Yeah, I did not see that coming. I mean, I kind of did, I kind of didn't. I feel like that was the most confusing part of the movie. The movie has a lot of story, has a lot of things that are going on, a lot of things. But Luther's death, the way they did it was a bit confusing. Not necessarily the way that they did it, because that was awesome with him and the bomb and him having to do that and him having to kill himself in order to save everyone else in London at that point. That was really awesome. But I don't think we have ever seen something of the disease that he had. Like he had some kind of disease and which was getting worse, and then he was about to die from that. So really all Gabriel did was just fasten the process in that case, in that regard. But I don't feel like we ever had something that told you he was sick, so he suddenly was sick and he was suddenly dying of sickness. That was really weird. I could have been that I missed something in the other movies, but that is just something that really took my attention for some time, because I was like, where did it come from? All right, I did love everything with the scenes from Tom Cruise in that particular moment and the reaction of Ethan Hunt to it. Albeit I do have to say that I did kind of miss a reaction from the other teammates like Benji and maybe even Grace in that regards. I kind of wanted to see their reactions more. They are there, especially for Benji. I hoped a little bit more. I hoped a vocal reaction or a really visible reaction instead of just the quick nod that he gave to it. Like when he was talking about Luther's kill pill, he swallowed a bit more to talk about Luther and stuff like that. But I kind of wanted to see more reaction off of him, especially because those two were like the big teammates for Ethan Hunt. I would have wanted a little bit more with that. Talking about deaths in the movie, I thought that Gabriel's death in the end was absolutely phenomenal. That entire fight sequence was incredible, and the way that they eventually did it was awesome. It was brutal, it was fun, it was everything I wanted it to be. That was really, really awesome. I really loved how they did that. And it was kind of anticlimactic and kind of funny in a way that they set him up as this big guy, and he has this big fight in the end in the plane. And then it just smacked his head open on the back of the plane, which was really like, oh, well, that's one way to do it. So that was pretty fun. Some other people I thought were going to die were Benji, of course. I thought they were actually going to kill Benji as well. I'm kind of happy that they didn't, but also kind of sad that they didn't, because it would have been a perfect moment for him to die there. Especially when he was hiding his wound. Like, I knew he had it, and I think everyone else knew it as well, because when he went to do something, he made a face like getting shot. And Ethan Hunt didn't see it, but he was very silent afterwards. And then when Ethan Hunt leaves, he was like, oh, thank God, I thought he'd never leave, and shows his bloody hand, which was a great scene again. But what I meant with I kind of wanted him to die, so I was kind of sad that he didn't. I thought in the end that they were going to do some kind of thing where the big three, like Ethan, Luther, and Benji, would have all bitten the dust, or they would all have died. That would have been something very crazy, very intense, and I would have applauded the movie if they pulled that off and if they had the balls to do it. Of course they didn't, so I'm not gonna applaud them for it. And I kind of cheapened a little bit on it. I think the ending could have been a little more dramatic, a little more final for the Final Reckoning. I do believe, as I just said 2 days ago in my normal review as well, I do feel like there's something in this movie that was just not finale enough. And that has mostly to do with the ending where Ethan Hunt escaped death like a gazillion times on that plane and on that fight, and then on the ground with the parachute and the parachute burning up and stuff like that. I really thought he was going to bite the dust in there. I really thought he was actually going to die. I was preparing for it, and I had a feeling the entire time, the entire franchise, that he was going to die by the end. He, of course, didn't, which was an interesting choice. And the way they shot the movie in the end, where everyone was just smiling at each other and waving each other's goodbye with just a quick nod, was awesome, was wholesome, but does leave the door open quite a bit too much for this franchise to officially have a final reckoning. Like, the way they did it was just to make sure that they could potentially set up another movie in this franchise, and that we are not done with Ethan Hunt, which is something I would be okay with, to not have it end and to just go further. As long as the movies stay awesome, I will watch them. But on the other hand, it could have been a bit more of a conclusion on it. Then again, John Wick also did have a very interesting ending that feels kind of final, but then again, they are also making a chapter 5, so you know, hey, everything is possible in movie land. So yeah, that's something I really love. The Entity is really awesome and finally really feels like a big fucking enemy that you have to be very afraid of. It was already the case in Dead Reckoning Part 1 or just Dead Reckoning, and it's definitely more the case in here. Like, holy shit, if there ever was a mission that truly felt impossible in all of those movies, it definitely is Gabriel, and most importantly, the Entity. The way they did it with the Entity and the way they had the government talk about it and how they did everything else was awesome, was incredible. I loved every single scene in that, and the only thing I really didn't love, or really was like, okay, we'll see, was the entire beginning of the movie, like the entire first hour. That was a bit rough to get to. It was still very good, but it didn't have as much as the rest, and they rushed a lot through some kinds of stories, like them having the mission, them seeing what's at play, and then having all the flashbacks to his past, and then having that and that and that and that and that, to then go on a mission, and then to immediately fail in that mission, like the mission hasn't even started but they're already down, go into the warehouse, kill everyone very brutally, having a shocked reaction to that kill, never talking about that part again. That's something I really was a bit bummed out with. Like, they had this entire big interaction between Grace and Tom Cruise, or between Grace and Ethan Hunt, whenever Ethan Hunt decided to brutally murder these mercenaries in that warehouse, and then they never talk about it anymore. They have one throwaway line, so whose blood is it? It's not one of ours. That's nice, but I kind of missed some reaction or some payoff to that. Was just like, okay. Yeah, okay, it's happening. It's happening. So that is that. And then, in the end, of course, there is a lot to talk about with this movie. Most of the things I said. I do think of my favorite set pieces of this movie. I do think I like the plane sequence a little more than I liked the Sebastopol sequence, which was incredible in its own way. I had one major thing that I noticed, which is the entire submarine started on the side of that cliff. And then it made 3 circles and was still on the side of the cliff. Did I miss something? Did I misinterpret something? Did I misunderstood that sequence, or see how long the ridge or the thing actually was? Or is it just a movie mistake? I have no idea. It was something I noticed. The plane sequence is incredible. It's awesome. The entire fight with Gabriel in the end was entirely awesome, which was phenomenal to watch, because holy shit, that was brutal. Whenever Tom Cruise started hanging on the man's broken arm, I could feel it in my bones. It was that intense. So yeah, I loved everything in this movie. It does feel a bit too rushed, which is sad, and it does feel like not final enough to actually have it to be the final of your franchise, but it still was decent enough. It had some great set pieces, and I loved watching them, and I loved talking about them with you now. What are your favorite sequences of this movie? Please let me know in the comments down below, because I'm really excited to hear your opinion on it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, and bye-bye.